Hello everybody, welcome back to Evil Adventures. If this is your first time to the channel, welcome. Today we're going to be touching on an incident that happened in Utah. I think it happened a few years back. It's been quite a while, but a man was exploring, I think it was shortly after Thanksgiving, wound up getting trapped. Mr. Jones, as you can see in the description on the screen there. This is actually an original video from Horror Stories, so go check out his channel. He's got tons of content. I'll leave a link down below for the video, of course. But with that, I'm going to shut my trap. Let's see what happened.
Cave exploring, also called spelunking or potholing, is a pastime made for risk-seeking adventurers who aren't afraid to trek through some of the darkest, most unmanageable places on Earth. Exploring a natural cave system and conquering its obstacles is just another exhilarating way for these adventurers to push their potential and feel closer to Mother Nature. But as with all dangerous hobbies, the chance of death is always looming, and whether novice or expert, the simplest mistake may just be your end. On November 24th, 2009, John Edward Jones was visiting family in Stansbury Park, Utah for Thanksgiving. The family decided to do some cave exploring like they used to when John was a kid.
Okay, so we got kind of a lowdown on the story. Visiting family in Utah. I had to go do some cave exploring. I guess they'd done it as a family event when they was younger. Okay. I'm kind of familiar with caves, actually. Not exactly like this. I would never do this. He was talking about getting closer to Mother Nature. I've got other opinions on that, but I don't think it's Mother Nature. More like your maker. But let's continue on, see what kind of info we can get from.
They chose a popular location they'd never been to before called Nutty Putty, which was named after the soft brown clay lining the cave's interior. Around 8 p.m., John entered the cave with 10 other friends and family members and began exploring a large chamber known as the Big Slide. Soon after, John and his brother Josh split from the group with 2 other friends to find a more challenging section of the cave called the Birth Canal. When the 4 decided to go separate ways to look for it, John picked a waist-high hole to explore and went in head first. He found no place big enough to turn his body around and leave the tunnel, so he kept going. John eventually saw a fissure that dropped nearly straight down in front of him, which may have appeared to widen out at the bottom, giving him a spot to turn around. Rescuers believe John sucked in his chest to investigate the fissure, sliding his torso over a lip of rock and down into the 10-inch wide side of the crevice, but when his chest expanded again, he was stuck.
That would be awful. So I guess it's kind of be like a fish hook as an example. One end's real smooth and then it barbs off. I guess your chest would work that way too. Once it passed his rib cage, it wouldn't come back. I guess because the lip on your rib cage. It'd be an awful situation to be in.
Instead of widening so John could get out, the crack grew smaller and all but closed. Struggling to free himself only made John slide deeper into an even tighter 8.5-inch wide section of the fissure. One arm pinned underneath him, the other forced backward by an outcropping of rock. His headlamp was also knocked off. When John's brother Josh heard his older brother was stuck, he made his way down the waist-high tunnel to help him. But after getting stuck himself in a section known as the corkscrew, and seeing how far his brother was wedged in the crevice, Josh knew they had a serious problem. John was almost completely upside down with only his...
Holy crap, I really hope that's not him because that would be awful. How'd you even get in there? I don't even know how you get in there. A lot of baby oil. One thing I did want to touch on though, I noticed the cave's name was Nutty Putty because of all the clay. I'm familiar with quite a bit of clay in cave systems and stuff. I know that's some of the worst stuff you can get around because when it's damp, it's just impossible. It moves, it shrinks, it expands. It's just like putty. It's like playing with Play-Doh. It's constantly moving. That's interesting actually. And I think it said it felt like it closed in even tighter on him. So I don't know. Well, let's keep going.
His feet and about 6 inches of his legs sticking out of the tight opening. Josh attempted to pull him out, but soon realized they would need help to free his brother.
Okay, so that's not him. This is not a fight. Okay, we're good.
He told John he was calling for help, then made a friend stay with his brother as he made the journey out of the cave to alert emergency services. When he was sure help was on the way, Josh made his way back to where John was stuck and took the friend's place by his brother's side. The Mormon brothers passed the time by praying and talking about Josh's plans for the future. Just before midnight, over 3 hours after John had first gotten stuck, members of the rescue team began arriving. It took rescuers about 30 minutes to reach the tunnel where Jones was stuck. Around 12:30, rescue team volunteer member Susie Matola reached John and greeted him with, "Hi John, my name is Susie. How's it going?" John's reply sounded distant. "Hi Susie, thanks for coming, but I really want to get out." "Oh, no worries John," she told him. "You're going to be out of here lickety-split." As Susie analyzed the situation though, she knew it was not going to be an easy task. The 6-foot, 200-pound Jones was encased upside down by a tight crevice except for a small section of his legs and feet protruding out. The human body is designed to walk upright, and the heart works with the force of gravity, not against it. When rescuers told trauma physician Doug Murdoch that John was nearly upside down, he knew the trapped man didn't have much time.
Okay, so at that point, he'd already been stuck in there for 3.5 hours. And from the way they're making it sound, he was on an incline head down. Now, I've heard a lot of stuff, growing up as a child and whatnot about blood rushing to your head. I'm kind of intrigued if he got crushed or how long he was actually alive, which it may talk on that. I need to just watch the video and shut my trap. So let's do that.
Being upside down, your body has to pump the blood out of the brain all the time, he said. Your body isn't set up to do that. The entire system starts to fail. Murdoch headed for the scene, knowing blood and fluids would be pooling in John's brain and lungs. His circulation would be slowing, capillaries leaking, and toxins building up in his blood. If the rescuers were to free John, those toxins could rush to his heart and kill him. There are very few studies about the long-term effects of being upside down, but Murdoch thought John might have 8 to 10 hours to live. They attempted to tie a rope around John's legs.
Now, I wonder if that was 8 to 10 hours from the time they was there, or taking away the 3.5 hours it took them to get to him originally. That means at this point he's got 6 hours if they're going off that. And apparently there ain't much scientific information on if it actually has long-term effects on you or not. So I guess that's intriguing. I guess we'll find out if that's how he died or if they know.
And pull him out. But the friction of the rope on the rocks of the cave walls was just too great. The small space they had to work with, and the depth that John was stuck, also made using big equipment impossible. Many chisels and a drill were used to widen parts of the cave. However, the smaller tools were not working fast enough. They then began constructing a pulley system out of climbing cams, but each trip into the tunnel to pass a piece of equipment took nearly an hour. The rescue team did their best to keep John comfortable by singing religious hymns and keeping conversation. But as the hours passed, rescuers began to hear John's voice grow nasally, and his breathing labored as fluids began to slowly fill his lungs.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right here for a second. That way we can look at some of this. So it looks like they rigged up a pulley system. You can see kind of the cave, like a little drawn out example here. Look like, I can see the little pieces they put in the wall there for the pulley system. You look over here all the way on the right where it says rescue attempt. That must be where he was talking about. He's seen a 10-inch gap to turn around and he slid. That must be that smaller 8.5-inch gap. I guess it said he was on an incline, so maybe he slid down into there and couldn't get back out. Down in the middle, we see the map. There's the birth canal down in this area, detail area. I guess that's where he was sitting at. That's a tight cave right there. That's just big enough for a body. That's, whew. Alright then, get back to it.
When they finally got the pulley system operational and began inching John out of the crevice, his feet hit the tunnel's low ceiling. With his heart struggling to pump blood into his legs, the contact made him scream in pain. That's when the rescuers came to a horrible realization. The angle of the tunnel meant they couldn't bend John's body backwards without likely breaking his legs. In his weakened state, the shock could kill him, and the cams anchoring the pulleys were slipping from their places on the cave walls. Around 24 hours later, they had made little progress, and John was beginning to have a very difficult time breathing. Over 100 men and women worked tirelessly to free John from his prison. Unfortunately, 27 hours into the rescue, Jones became unresponsive. Just before midnight on Wednesday, November 25th, John Jones was declared dead. The 26-year-old medical student left behind his wife Emily, a 1-year-old daughter named Elizabeth, and another child that was expected to be born in June of 2010. After his death, the Nutty Putty Cave was closed, and the entrance was eventually sealed with cement, with John's body still inside.
Going back to the little cave diagram, they was saying that the pins that they was using to anchor was pulling out of walls. I'm going to assume that's because the clay's terrible to anchor into. It's not a solid. In that situation, what would y'all do? Would you just tell them go ahead and break your legs if that was your chance of survival, or would you just stay? Which obviously in his situation, he might not even been alive in that situation, but you don't know that. They don't know that, of course. But I think if I was in that situation, I'd told him just tug like hell. I don't think I could have just laid like it, just pull it. If it breaks it, it breaks it. But who knows? They said they sealed this cave off. They filled it with concrete. So this, I guess, became his tomb. What was funny was I remember hearing something about this was supposed to be like a beginner's level cave, like for, just entry level cave explorers. I'd tell you that, cave exploring ain't for me. I believe I'll just go ahead and chalk that one off the list. Let's finish it up. Well, that was it. Got a Kit Kat ad. Need to take a break. But, well, that was it for that one. Now, I do have another video that I think it has a little bit more information. I was actually looking around, and I seen another one. It's a little bit longer, so it might have some more additional information. Kind of intrigued by this story. It touched on what happened, but I'm curious to see, what the cave's like today. If there's a memorial, if they had services, or what all kinds of equipment they did try. Just a bunch of other information you can get from this. But a big shout out to the Horror Stories channel. Done a great job narrating. I mean, that's a wonderful job there. And of course, like I said, the link's in the description. But I want to thank everybody for swinging by, hanging out. Definitely stay tuned. Make sure you hit the notification, subscribe button. That way we can keep this train going. Y'all can come in and watch new content. And like I said, I'm going to try to hit the other video up on this too. That way we can get some more information. It might be a little bit shorter than normal, but it'd be kind of a good fill-in for the time as far as, finding out what else happened during that process. But alrighty, I want to thank everybody for watching. We'll see y'all next time.